close. It is time for the Flannel Guide 2023. I'm so psyched. Now, here's the weird thing, like originally I didn't think that this would be a recurring series. That's why it has the name Flannel Guide. In the original one, I did, kind of an introduction. What is flannel? Some of my favorites, and I thought that would be the end of it, but then people wanted to see more. And they would say, hey, next time, can you talk about this brand or that brand? So I always listen to you and we'll check out the brands that you recommend, which is all of these right here. So all of these are brands that you recommended through the comments, through polls, stuff like that. And you guys were right. A lot of these are absolutely fantastic. Welcome, I'm Carl Murawski, and this is the channel that helps you own better, look better, and live better. Now, flannel is a little bit of a weird fabric. Whereas denim and canvas are really easy to define, flannel is much more mysterious. Originally made from wool, flannel was once known as Welsh cotton, although it was still wool. Whatever. Anyway, it could be a plain weave or a twill weave, brushed to a lofty, cozy feel, or left unbrushed for durability. It could be made from cotton, wool, synthetics, or a blend of all those things. And while most flannel is plaid or patterned, it could be a solid color as well. So I think the easiest way to define flannel is a soft, loosely woven fabric that could be basically made out of anything. That's almost every fabric, but whatever. That's what we're gonna go with. And I'm gonna use that very loose definition and loose weave to, take a little bit of liberty this year on some of these flannels here. A lot of them fall under the flannel category. This one right here, most people would call a flannel shirt, but some of the other ones in here, maybe not. So we're gonna begin with the most requested brand of all this year, Vermont Flannel. Now this Vermont Flannel shirt is in the color Earth. It costs $73.80. It's made of 100% organic cotton, which is 6.8 ounces, and it's made in the USA. Now this has certainly been one of the standouts of the bunch. I will say that all the things that I love about flannel shirts is present in this particular shirt, like in spades. It's soft, it's beautiful, the colors are gorgeous. I even like the fact that they used, the buttons are branded, which is really cool. It's not an expensive thing to do, but it's a little neat touch that I really, really like. The one thing that I don't like about this flannel is they did a little bit of exterior branding by putting a patch on the lower right-hand side here. Now, I mean, if you tuck in your shirt, you probably won't see that, but I know a lot of people who wear flannel shirts, especially if they're hemmed nice and short, won't really worry about that kind of thing too much. The fit on this thing I thought was fantastic. A lot of these fit differently, and you'll notice that going through these. I'll try to do spin around pictures, the whole thing, so you can see the way that they're cut. This one fit really, really nicely. I would say that this is probably the one that hits the highest above its price point for what you get. You get a lot of flannel shirt for the money, more than some of the other options I'm gonna show you. And being made in the USA is just a bonus. Really, really nice stuff. I am so glad that you guys recommended this brand because they're fantastic. This will definitely not be my last Vermont flannel shirt. Now here's a company I didn't expect to be as popular as they were. I did a video on them a while back and I thought, you know what? They make a nice product. They have a neat little gimmick and I hope that they stick around. But turns out they've not only stuck around, they've actually done pretty well. Matter of fact, I'm wearing a Pladra shirt right now. And that's what we have right in front of us. This here is the Pladra Everyday Elite Flannel in Anchorage Green. Costs $139. It's made out of 100% Portuguese cotton, which is about 8 ounces, double brushed on the exterior, triple brushed on the interior, triple stitched at the shoulders and on the back yoke, and it's made in Nicaragua. Now, if you didn't see that original video that I did on the Pladra shirts, one of their things that they do is they do these really cool prints, as you can see on my cuff here, and then underneath the collar, like there, and in the back yoke as well. They do these really interesting prints, which are typically, I believe, art that is done by prominent wildlife artists. Pretty cool stuff, but they really make a solid flannel. And I mean, some of the things that you're gonna wanna look at when you're determining a high-end flannel or just a decent flannel versus kind of a crummy one is the way that they match up their plaids. Now, Pladra also takes pride in the fact that they come up with all their plaids, their plaids and their colors are original designs. You won't see something that mimics something else. You'll see really original stuff. So this color here, I honestly haven't seen anywhere else, this interesting blue-green. One of the other things that they do really nicely is they match up the flannel. So places like the patch pocket where it's sewn on, or where other elements will come together, they do a very good job at matching up the lines. So it almost looks like one continuous piece of fabric rather than a bunch that are stitched together, although that's what it is. They're also really cozy. I gotta tell you, these flannels are soft, 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 really, really cozy. The fit is very good. They do a little bit of external branding, which again, I'm not a big fan of, but it's so small you don't even notice it. This is low on the right-hand side placket. And then on the pocket, they have a little Pladra thing that kind of sticks out here like a tag. And so it's hardly noticeable. I certainly can let it slide. It doesn't bother me one bit, but I love Pladra, and a lot of you have as well. They're kind of one of the up-and-coming brands that I'm certainly looking at. And, you know, I have probably 3 or 4 of their shirts now, and they're all great. So, I mean, I really don't have a bad thing to say about this. I think just solid option all around. Although, they are more expensive than the Vermont Flannel, which offers a lot of the same benefits. So it's kind of a toss-up. Do you really like their colors and their patterns and all that stuff? Or do you want something that's a little bit different? Although, you know, they each have their pros and cons. Next up, from Freenote Cloth. Now, I told you I was gonna take a few liberties here with flannel shirt, right? This maybe wouldn't be considered by most people to be a flannel shirt. Although I know some people who think that basically any soft plaid shirt is a flannel shirt, but this is not. This is the Freenote Cloth Jepson shirt. It costs $280. It's the most expensive shirt that we'll be talking about today. 100% indigo dyed Japanese sashiko fabric, which is 8 ounces. It features horn buttons. It's made in the USA, and it's a beaut. Now, of course, the thing that you're looking at probably is that fabric. It's so interesting, so unique. Sashiko is really amazing stuff. Now, this dates back to, I think, the 8th century in some monk's robe. It was actually originally meant as a repair technique, and then it became decorative. It's fascinating stuff. Now, sashiko is named after the Japanese verb sasu, or to pierce. And you can see, because it's basically a running stitch, which, as I mentioned, was originally meant to repair and then became a decorative thing. But look at this. The depth that you get and the character is unbelievable. And the fact that this is also indigo dyed means that it will fade the way a pair of jeans will as well. Now, Freenote Cloth is high-end. I would definitely consider their stuff expensive, certainly worth it because it's beautifully made, but high-end nonetheless. So, like with these buttons here, one of the things that Freenote Cloth does that I love is that they actually have Freenote written on the coin edge, right, if you would, of the button itself. These are cat's eye buttons, horn buttons, and the way they do that is just, it's classy. It's not in your face, but it's still there. And they do a wonderful job at making their garments unique and interesting and something that you won't see anywhere else. I think this is certainly one of those things. Although, look, $300, that's a lot of money, and this is not a work shirt. Most people think of flannel shirts as workwear, right? Not wearing this one to work. There's absolutely no way. But nothing about it really says that it is workwear. It is cut slimmer, so that immediately makes me think that it's meant for casual use. Although I think that if you were to wear this casually or not, it still is gonna be dynamite. I really am impressed with the quality, not only the interesting fabric, but the way it's put together. Freenote Cloth does everything top notch, and this is no different. Really beautiful stuff. Although I'm sure that price point, a lot of people are just gonna go, nope. Next, let's get to the next one. Here is a company that, man, oh man, I have gotten a lot of comments about. You guys have talked about this company so many times, and it's about time that I was able to check them out, and that is Devium. Devium is a very interesting company, which seems right up my alley. I can't believe it took me this long to cover their stuff. And look at this. Look at the color. I mean, the color just jumps off the screen. This is one of those shirts that, this coloration in particular, is one that you won't wear if you don't want comments, because look at it. This is the Devium Boca Flannel in the color Jumbo Teal. It costs $148. It's made from 100% organic cotton in 6.5 ounce, which is double brushed. It features horn buttons, and it's made in the USA. Now, this color reminds me so much of what happens to copper when it starts to oxidize, and I believe that term is verdigris or something like that. Basically, same thing that happens to the Statue of Liberty. It's a really cool look. I love it. And same thing with this flannel. I think that this color is just a total hit. What a great job they did. The contrast, the depth of color, even the brushing that they've done here, everything has a really cool 3D look to it. I'm very impressed. And one of the things that I really like about this particular flannel is how big the buttons are. Sometimes if you have big hands, or if like me, you've lost some sensation in your fingertips just from, working, and for me, twisting wires and stuff like that, it makes it a little bit easier to find the buttonhole and to be able to flip that and make it work. They've done a really good job. I even like the fit of it. It's a little bit trimmer as compared to some of the other ones we're gonna be looking at. The external branding is there, but it's not too bad. There's a little tag right here on the pocket, which seems to be pretty common now, but besides that, it's pretty free of branding, which is really nice. I mean, I don't really like being a walking billboard. This will not be my last Devium purchase. I would recommend this. This is a really, really nice flannel shirt. Another one that I got a lot of requests for was Troll Clothing. Now, Troll Clothing is, I believe they're based in Canada, and they do things pretty interestingly. At first I thought, you know what, this is my kind of company. They support blue collar workers. Although to me, it's a bit much. It's a lot. You know what I mean? I understand wanting to be a part of something, feeling that kind of brotherhood that you do feel with people that you work with, and they're certainly tapping into that. So who am I to yuck anybody's yum? If you like it, great. If you don't, they still make decent quality clothing. So this one here, this is the Wilder Flannel. It is $70. It's 60% cotton, 40% polyester, and it's made in China. Now, this one here, I think is, look, I'm gonna be honest with you, I think this might be my least favorite of the bunch. And I'm a big fan of orange. I thought the orange was really cool, very interesting. And it's not the made in China thing that gets me, although, I'm not a big fan of the government there. It's the people I have no problem with. It's really the government. There's a few things that really I don't like about this particular flannel, and they became more and more apparent as I began to wear it. Number one, the external branding is loud, okay? So on the left-hand side, you have this big Troll Co, it's like almost like a patch, like embroidered. It's very, like the contrast of this and the shirt, it stands out. Like you know it's there, and it has their tagline, "Dirty hands, clean money," which is cool. But again, unless you buy into that whole thing, you might not want that on your shirt, but maybe you do. They also have another one on the right-hand side, the little TC there. Nothing on the chest pockets. I do like the snaps. Snaps are really cool. They offer a very good purpose. When you come home and you can do that and pull off your shirt, it's kind of cool. I gotta tell you, I kind of laugh about it every single time. One of the things that I didn't like about it was whatever they put, the inner lining of this collar, listen. Now, it's designed to keep the collar from falling and looking too sloppy. It's meant to keep it nice and tight, which it does. But you can hear that all the time, and I don't really like the feel of it. I do like the way that they kept the collar down, though. If you look underneath here, they have like a little loop which also hooks to a button underneath there. And I've seen this done in a number of different ways. I've seen snaps, I've seen buttons that also go into a buttonhole underneath the collar end here. That works as well. This is a really good solution, and it works very, very well. I don't know, though. There's something about this that it just doesn't feel as special as the other ones, even ones that are less expensive. It's okay. It reminds me a lot, I'll tell you what I was immediately reminded of when I put this on was the Musk Ox flannels. Same kind of thing where I thought, this is a nice flannel shirt for about half the money. There's nothing really special about it. I mean, the poly count in it, the fact that it's made in China, it could be a lot cheaper. You're not getting $70 worth of shirt, in my opinion, all right? Don't, hang me out to dry, because I'm sure there are plenty of troll company clothing people out there who love the brand and would, die for them. But to me, it's a solid okay, and it's certainly not the first thing that I reached for when I go into my closet. All right, next up, another brand that I kept on getting requests for. This is Legendary Whitetails. This is kind of like the budget version, you know what I mean? Like, this is the budget pick. Although, I will say, there's a lot of stuff here that punches well above its weight. For what you get, it's a really solid shirt. Now, this is the Legendary Whitetails Western Flannel in the color Lancer Plaid. It's $35, 100% cotton, which is 5.1 ounces. It's a Western style cut with cord-lined cuffs and collar, and it's made in Cambodia. Now, I'll tell you, this shirt has a lot of little touches which make me feel like it's a lot more expensive than it actually is. One of the things is the snaps that they use. They use these really nice, solid snaps. Almost looks like a little bit of maybe faux horn in there, which is surrounded by a small piece of brass, I think. And they're branded, but it's not obnoxious. They did a really nice job of keeping it classy, San Diego. They did a great job there. The external branding is there, but it's not really that noticeable. It's on the patch of the left-hand pocket where you can see like a small Legendary Whitetails logo there or insignia, and that's it. And I love the color, although I believe that this color was also a Filson color not too long ago. However, for 35 bucks, it's a great flannel. Now, one of the issues with this particular model, or with maybe Legendary Whitetails in general, is that they are big. This thing is huge. This is an XL. I probably should have bought a large, but I will tell you that this thing is it's a big shirt. Buying 2 or 3 of these for the price of one of those others actually might be the move. Now, the flannel itself, it's not as thick, it's not as plush, it's not like super duper brushed and all that stuff. But when I talk about a working flannel shirt, something you could wear on the job site, this is what I'm talking about. And it would certainly hold up to the task. As a matter of fact, I really dig that they lined the cuffs and the collar in this corduroy. That's a tough fabric, and it feels really good on your skin too. Nice job. And I gotta tell you, I was very pleasantly surprised with Legendary Whitetails, so thank you for recommending them. I mean, you knew I had to bring a Carhartt shirt here, right? I mean, if there's one company that I've covered probably more than any other, it's likely Carhartt. And a lot of people wonder why that is. And I tell them that it would be like covering athletic gear and not covering Nike or Reebok or one of those, or Under Armour, right? I mean, like, they're one of the biggest names in the space. This is the Carhartt Rugged Flex Midweight Flannel in color navy. Now it's $50. It's made of 97% cotton, 3% spandex in a 5.6 ounce fabric. Of course, you have the Carhartt triple stitch seams, and it's made in India. Now, with Carhartt, you know what you're gonna get, right? Like, they have the things that are very Carhartt-esque. One of those being the triple needle seams that you see everywhere on their garments. That's been one of their things for a long time. The other thing that I've noticed is they'll often go overboard with their pockets. And I don't mean like to an obnoxious degree, but you have your regular chest pocket on the left here. You also have a sub pocket, which is really nice, and a small little pencil pocket. And if you are somebody who actually uses these for work, which, let's face it, it doesn't get much more workwear than this, you'll be using all 3 of those things. And I certainly have noticed that it's a great thing. And when you have it and you're used to having a little pencil pocket or something like that, and then you go to a shirt that doesn't have it, you really notice it. Now, I mean, of course, their stuff is typically oversized. This is no different, but it's not obnoxious. And in a mid-weight, it's not really burdensome either. So this is a large, but you know, it fits like a Carhartt large. I might have gone with a medium if I had to do it again, but all in all, I'm pretty happy with it. Of course, you have the Carhartt branding on the chest, which some people like and some people don't. Now, although they say there's only 3% spandex in this thing, I think it really goes a long way. I mean, like, it stretches quite a bit, and that's really nice to have, especially when you're moving around as you do at work. I like their colors. I think sometimes I wish they would go a little bit bolder with some of their colors, but then again, it's workwear. Not a lot of people really want to stand out. They want something that's tough, will last a long time, and that's what these do. It's a solid value, and that is one of the things that Carhartt does pretty much better than anybody else. Next up, you knew I had to include a Naked and Famous. Of course I did. Now, I really like the brand. I really love this color. And this is another one like the Freenote cloth, which certainly does not fall into the workwear category. This is a nice flannel shirt, if you will. And I mean, look at that color. That is so cool. And that's one of the things that you get when you get into the more high-end stuff, is you get more unique and interesting flannel colors, plaids, and shadow plaids like this one right here. Now, this is the Naked and Famous Easy shirt in Tweedy Cotton Vintage Brushed Yellow. It costs $256. It's 100% Japanese cotton, and it's made in Canada. Now, although they don't give us a weight on this fabric, it is definitely on the heavier side. If I had to guess, maybe 7 to 8 ounces, which, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, the Ironheart stuff is, I think, 12 ounces, so it's still not like ultra heavyweight, but it's a heavier flannel. You're gonna know it when you have this on. Now, this is size large, and if the price wasn't enough of a giveaway, you know that this is a casual flannel. This is like a nice flannel, right? So you're gonna get things here that you couldn't get anywhere else, especially that Japanese cotton, but you also get the Japanese cut, which doesn't always work for me. This one is borderline. I would say it's borderline, especially with those sleeves being as narrow as they are. It just, the cut just doesn't work for me, especially at work. Now, I have worn this casually. I'm gonna go hang out, gonna go do something, you know, where it's not like a whole lot of activity. It's not all that bad. As a matter of fact, I mean, it's pretty pleasant. But the problem comes when you really need that freedom of movement. This doesn't really give it to me. I love it. I think they did a great job. I'm certainly going to keep it. And they did a nice job with giving you a bit of a gusset in the back, which allows a little bit more freedom of movement, which is really, really nice. But when it comes to kind of, you know, the heritage people among us who like their things to look like workwear, but be a little bit more refined, that's what you get here. And they did a really, really nice job. This is the second Naked and Famous flannel shirt that I've owned. They both had the same positives and negatives, and I will continue to buy their stuff. I really like it a lot. It's nice, it's soft, it's interesting, and it looks like nothing else. Finally, we're gonna close it out with probably the least flannel of the flannel shirts, and I say that this is flannel in only one or two ways, okay? If you were to just close your eyes and feel this fabric, you would say, nope, that's not flannel. It's not brushed, it's not lofty, but the name is flannel, okay? So this here is from Truewerk. This is the Truewerk Tech Flannel. It costs $65. It's 4.8 ounces yarn dyed poly twill with a DWR finish, which more or less means that it's somewhat rain repellent. It has two-way stretch, and it's made in Bangladesh. Now, I like what Truewerk is doing. Truewerk, to me, is taking heritage, traditional workwear, and putting it to the future, where Carhartt kind of maintains the current day standards. Truewerk tends to like push it a little bit, which I like. They're really cool. Now, they don't push it as far as, say, Snickers workwear or some of those other companies where their stuff looks borderline futuristic, but they do give you a little bit of maybe a fast forward. Now, I'll tell you what I'm talking about here. As I mentioned, this flannel is a flannel maybe in name only, right? Because it's a pretty hard-faced fabric. There's not any brushing here. I mean, it's soft enough, but it feels more like a chambray than anything. But it does have a nice amount of stretch to it, which maybe isn't as noticeable as the Carhartt, but when you put it on, it's definitely noticeable. Now, I really felt it especially across the back when I would put this on. I noticed that I could easily do this and it returned to its position, which was really nice. Now, as I mentioned with the Carhartt, you have sort of the functionality of a work shirt with a pen stall, and then you have a flapped chest pocket on the left here, which works really well. And for some reason, there's a coin in there. I don't know. All right, that my son was playing around the other day. I must have taken that away from him and put it in my pocket and forgot about it. Now, just as with the Carhartt, you have a lot of the workwear functionality. So on the left-hand side, you have a chest pocket that also has a pen stall, which goes through the top, which is nice until you have to open up that flap, and then it kind of tosses your pen out of there. That's happened to me a couple of times. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, especially if you're aware of it. And then, you know, if you're constantly going into that pocket, sometimes it can get a little bit cumbersome if it's on the top. Some people like it, some people don't. These are also really nice deep pockets. I noticed that, I don't know where my phone is, but I could fit my whole phone in there and still close the top, which is really nice to have these big, big pockets. A lot of times I end up carrying probably a little bit too much in my chest pockets, so having the extra capacity is really nice. I love the fact that they did some snaps here. Now, these snaps are cool. They're very industrial looking. There's not a lot of, you know, anything there. There's no branding or anything, but they're very functional. They work well. The snaps are found everywhere. So they're on the placket, they're on the chest pockets, they're also on the closure for the sleeves, but you have a double there, so they're not gonna just pop open on you, which is really nice. Now, the one thing I don't really care for is, again, a lot of exterior branding. So they have the Truewerk insignia right here on the left pocket, which, as we've seen, is a pretty common thing for most of these brands, but they also have one on the back. So they have, on the back right shoulder, they have a Truewerk thing there as well, which, you know, I mean, some people don't care for. I'm not a big fan of being a walking billboard for the clothing that I'm wearing, but regardless, it's very functional. This is one of those products that I tried on. I wasn't really sold on until I tried it. And when I put it on and actually wore it around, I got it. You know what I mean? It was very clear how well thought out it was. They did a really nice job with everything on this, and the fit is very good, especially being a size large. I really don't have a whole lot of bad things to say about this. I would say this is a solid option. Now, it's a little bit more expensive than some of the other traditional workwear options, but really nice job. Truewerk, good job on this one. Now we have to select the winner from last week's video. If you're not familiar, what we do here is at the end of some videos, I will give you a chance to win $100 via Tremendous, which basically you can cash out through PayPal. You can, you know, cash it out through different gift cards if you want, give it away to a charity, whatever you want. And all you really have to do is comment the phrase below. So last week's phrase was, you get what you get and you don't get upset. So the winner from last week is... All right, congratulations. Now we have to figure out what we're gonna do for a phrase this week, and let's just make it flannel rules. It's appropriate, right? So write flannel rules in the comment section below. And of course, you have to be subscribed to this channel. I do check for that. If you're not subscribed, you ain't gonna win. So type flannel rules in the comment section below, and you have a chance to win $100. And hey, for that amount of money, you could buy a couple of these flannels back here, or save up for the Freenote cloth or the Naked and Famous, whichever one you want. Thank you for being with me through, I believe, the 3rd or 4th flannel guide. Man, unbelievable. It's been a heck of a ride. So thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. And I'll catch you next time.